Hello, and thank you everyone for joining us. We're really excited to talk to you today about maybe some fears, some questions you might have around the Enagic opportunity. By now, if you're watching this video, you've probably already seen a web class. You've been introduced to this opportunity to some degree. So, Abby and I are going to go through some common fears, objections, and questions that come up. It is very normal to have that hesitation and to have the fear when you see something like this. Abby and I can totally relate. We did, although Abby and I just jumped right in and we were very much like we caught the vision big time. We definitely still had those fears around, the investment and like, is this going to work for us type thing. So we definitely understand where you're coming from. So as two women who have been there and have now, who are also a few steps ahead of you, we are really excited to go into these common questions and fears and to help you gain some clarity around the opportunity. So, the first one that we are going to go over is I don't have the money. So, a lot of people will say, I do not have the money. And we get it, right? I mean, I didn't have the money laying around in my checking account or my savings account to start this business, but it is a business, it is a legitimate business, and businesses cost time and money investing into them if you want them to be successful, right? So, one of the really great things about having us to help you is that we help you tailor a plan specific to your financial goals and your current situation to help you get started. So, we do have options for you to get started with $0 down out of pocket. And then the company, depending on how you get started, of course, the company will more than likely be giving you money back just for getting started. So, that's a pretty good deal for starting a business. Um, and we do also leverage LLCs, having a business. So you can leverage business credit so it's not going on your personal profile. And I mean, you have to think about it too. Most of the people watching this are probably healthcare professionals, or maybe if you aren't, you probably still went to college more than likely. Think about those student loans that you took out when you went to school and nobody batted an eye for you to take out 50, 70, $80,000 or whatever it was in student loans. And I mean, this business is a fraction of that, and it can literally pay you back tenfold. So, and I don't care who you are, I stand very strong on this belief and value of mine that it takes money to make money. Just again, like your degree that you got, if you went to nursing school, med school, wherever you're at, you had to spend some money to be able to make money, right? In your training. So it takes money to make money. And a lot of us have these money beliefs that we are brought up with where, money doesn't grow on trees or, having money is evil. And so you really have to shift your mindset and thinking about how can you use money to serve? How can you use money to make an impact instead of, having that fear based around it? So is there anything you want to add to that, Abby?
No, I think you nailed it with that. Like it definitely takes money to make money. Like even with 401ks and investing in IRAs, you that money is working for you, but you have to put the money in there in order to create more money. Going to school, you have to invest the money. So no matter what you do to create more money in your life, you have to use money to do so.
Yes. Oh, I love that addition with the 401k and IRAs. That's such a great point. Thank you for mentioning that, Abby. Abby's going to take us into our next question. Go ahead.
All right. So another fear that I get a lot from talking to people is I don't have the time. And where everybody is at in life right now, especially with what's going on in the world and just everything out there, it's like not a lot of people the time seems crunched. But if you look at it from a perspective of I don't have time, then that's what it's going to seem to you. And so you just kind of have to like shift your mindset and say, okay, where can I find the time? Where can I multitask? Where can I overlap things in order to create the time? Where can I find little pockets in my day to squeeze things in? Because if you keep on that mindset of I don't have the time while you're sinking the time that you do have into like the current job or role that you have that's not getting you anywhere, then you're just going to stay in like that constant loop of thinking you don't have time, but you are sinking time into something, but that thing is just not going to get you where you want to be. And so like whenever I very first came across this opportunity, I was in the middle of a six shift stretch and I worked night shift. And so my time was very crunched. And so I found the time and to watch my very first webinar with this. And I was at a shift and I just popped in an earbud. And then whenever I was in between patients, I would listen to the webinar. It's just finding time, finding ways to overlap tasks. If you really do want to change the situation that you're in life, or if you want to create a better future, a bigger future, a more free future, you have to find those pockets of time. My favorite thing to do is like right before I go to bed, I'll pop in an earbud and listen to something if it's like a training I'm trying to listen to, or getting caught up on like the end of my daily tasks, like right before I get to bed, instead of sitting there and doom scrolling. Or um, I've actually kicked out like Netflix and streaming in my life over this past year. Like I don't even really watch TV anymore because I take that time that I used to watch TV and I now sink it into this opportunity that is going to create me a better future, a bigger future, a more free future versus, all that time that I used to waste just scrolling or watching TV. Like that's not going to get me anywhere in life except the same exact position that I'm in now that I'm trying to get out of. And so you just really have to shift your mindset and prioritize your time. Like, what things can I put on the back burner or put on the shelf or completely eliminate that aren't going to affect my future so that I can insert things that will create a better future? Do you want to add anything on that?
Oh, honestly, you hit the nail on the head with that one. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just when you were saying that, what comes to mind for me is like we all waste at least an hour a day, if not more, doing things that are not moving the needle forward in our lives. Like prime example is Netflix, doom scrolling,
Mhm.
just I don't know, just doing nothing. Like people just, they waste the time. And then the other piece too that I kind of wanted to piggyback up on is that when you said figuring out like where can you kind of multitask, and I mean like you can delegate stuff too, when you come into this business, it's the time where you kind of do make those sacrifices. You make short-term sacrifices for long-term rewards where you might have to give up certain things. You might have to hire someone to clean your house. You might have to lean into your support systems a little bit more for a short period of time to be able to create that freedom. And so really it's all about just prioritizing your time and, figuring out what's important to you, the things that are most important and like where you can weave it in. And Abby and I have gotten really good at that too. So, you come into this, we can help you look at your schedule and time block and help you figure out, how can we optimize it basically, and then fitting your business work in there. So yeah, thank you so much, Abby. That was great.
Mhm.
I'm going to go over the next one. The next one is lack of spouse support. So I can personally attest to this. So I'll be honest, my husband was not super supportive in the beginning. I had done low ticket network marketing in the past and I wasn't very successful with it. I basically only made enough to be able to purchase my products. And so I think it was more of a protection mechanism for him and just wondering, don't want her to go into this debt, I want her to do this. And what if she doesn't make it or whatever, I think, and maybe even just like a lack of belief and understanding in the business model. So what I found is like really enrolling your spouse in your vision, not just presenting to them that like, hey, this is a business opportunity and this is like what it can bring us or like how much it costs especially, but like really letting them see the value in it and catching the vision that you've caught that's brought you thus far, and really sharing what's on your heart? What do you want for your family? And like really letting them know and letting them see that this is something that can help you achieve that. So, and I also do recommend, and we will tell you this individually too, is that, if you need to get your spouse's support for this, it's recommended to have them watch all the same training materials, or not training, but the web classes, this one, and sometimes even the discovery process, so that way they can fully understand and gain the experience, because we understand it is, for most people, it is a family decision. Some people make their decisions on their own, some people make them together. And either way, we're going to support you and make sure that you and your spouse both have all of the information, all your questions get answered. Because when you approach it from that lens versus like, oh, hey, this is what it is and this is how much it costs, without showing them anything and just like maybe speaking on it, it sometimes can come off to come across, not clear. So that's what's recommended. And I will say my husband's supportive now because he's seen that this business works. And I think that's part of it too. Sometimes, even if your spouse doesn't believe in it, it doesn't mean that you can't do it. It's just, they just haven't seen it happen yet, like in front of their eyes. So, but once they see those checks rolling in, that it definitely changes their mind. I will say that.
Yeah, and if you're excited about it, show your excitement. Share your excitement. Let them see your excitement and your enthusiasm and they'll feed right off of that because it is exciting. This is a big thing and I mean, yeah, it's just exciting. Share your excitement with them too. Let them really see how you feel about this.
Yeah, totally. And the other thing I wanted to add before we move on too is that more and more now I'm seeing a lot of partners, a lot of married couples or, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, a lot of couples doing this business together where one person joins and then, the next one like again catches the vision and like sees. And so then they start doing it together. So I think that that's a really, really cool piece too.
Yeah.
If your spouse wants that freedom like you do, which they probably do, so you finding a way where you can enroll them, not only enroll them in the vision, but include them too. And I know I personally try to include even my little one in my vision and like, hey, this is we're working towards this with this business. So really even just getting the whole family like involved, no matter how old they are, even when they're younger. I know it's hard, but including them in some way.
All right, I love that. Yeah, it's been really cool to see, I will say, to see your husband's perspective shift over this
Mhm.
past year. So the next point that we want to talk about is people saying, and I get this a lot too, is like, it's not the right time. And this is really big because, like I was talking about earlier with just life, like everyone's busy, everyone has jobs, families, things going on. It's never going to seem like there's a perfect time. And if we keep waiting for a perfect time, then it's never going to happen. There is never going to be a perfect time. With like every at every moment in our life, we're going to have something going on. And like there's a weird thing that we do as humans where we think like, okay, once this thing is over with and done, then I'll be able to start my next thing. But something else is going to pop up. That's how life goes. Life is always going to life, and there's always going to be something that pops up. There's never going to be a perfect time for things. But if it's something you really want to do, you just have to start. You just have to start. Like whenever I started, um, this was my mentality behind it. I was like, I'm going to start right now. I know it's not the perfect time. I've got a lot going on. I'm working a ton of overtime, but I'm going to start now so that I can start. So I can start gaining the experience, gaining the knowledge, learning how this works. Even though I'm not going to be able to put my full 100% into it at this time, I can at least get a head start by starting and figuring it out, learning how the ropes work and all that, and then it will come in time. And with this, you can also earn as you learn too. While you're learning all the things and going through the trainings and implementing the little bits and pieces that you can, maybe because you are super busy, you can still earn off of that while you are learning how it goes. And then that also ties into like the support. Like this isn't one of those things where you start and you're just kicked off to the curb and told like, hey, you got to figure this out on your own. You have support with you throughout it. And like whenever I started, if I didn't have support, it wouldn't have gone that way it did for me. But because I had the support that I did with this team, I was able to earn and learn. And yeah, there's just never going to be a right time. And I'm glad I started whenever I did because now I just have that much more experience, that much more knowledge, that much more like hang how things work versus if I would have sat around and waited and waited and waited to start going back and forth on my thoughts. But because I pulled the trigger and said I'm going to start now, I have all that experience. Um, and I don't feel like I'm behind, like in a weird way. Like if you start now, then you're ahead. I don't know. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense because, imagine if you, like you said, if you hadn't started, not only would you not have all that education and experience, but you also wouldn't have had that growth.
Yeah.
So you also have to think about that too. And like Abby said, even if you can't put your like full 100% into it because you're juggling other things, job, family, spouse, kids, hobbies, other family members, whatever you're juggling, we all have things going on, right? And so, like Abby said, life is going to continue to life. But you just have to get started and you're never gonna feel fully ready. You're still gonna have just this little inkling of fear inside of you, but that's normal. It's so normal. And the only way you're never gonna feel ready to start. You have to start, and then you will start to feel more and more ready as you go along. Because as you take action, you're going to gain more clarity and it's going to feel good and you're going to pick up momentum versus like just staying stuck in that analysis paralysis and just like sitting there waiting for like the perfect moment. Like nothing, no, there's no ever perfect moment that's going to happen. There's always things that are going to be happening. People can say that about having children. There's never a perfect time, there's just, it's not. Um, but like Abby said, the important part is that we have the support here, so you are supported each and every step of the way. And yeah, I think that I feel like there was something else I was going to add and I just like totally forgot. So
Yeah, me too.
if I remember it before the end, I will definitely share it. So, we are gonna get into, oh yeah, we already at our last one. So this is one that I get quite frequently and it's honestly one of my favorite things to talk about too because yeah, you'll understand as I share it, but I'm not a salesperson or I don't want to do sales. So I wasn't a salesperson when I started this either, nor did I ever picture myself being in sales. Okay. Had planned to just stay on the healthcare professional path, get my advanced degree and just stay in that type of situation. But I mean, truly, each and every day that we are taking care of our patients, we're taking care of kids, we're at work doing our jobs, you are selling to people to some degree every single day. For example, for me, outside of this work that I do, I'm selling the dinner that my son needs to eat. I'm selling that to him, I'm selling myself on getting my workout in sometimes, or like you're selling your patients on having to take their medication to stay compliant. You're selling the patients on the fact that they have to be NPO to get their procedure, So I know not everybody maybe that is watching this is healthcare related, but you get what I'm saying. Or like if you go to a job interview, you're selling yourself to that employer to hire you, right? So I think most people can relate to that one. And so I wasn't born a salesperson. We don't teach salesy tactics here. It's very much like we guide you through to making the best educated decision for your family. We're not pushy here. We educate you, we answer all your questions, and then we help develop a plan for the person, what it would look like for them to start. We're not pushing them into anything that they're uncomfortable with. We're not here to convince anybody. And, when you say, for example, if you're a healthcare professional, most of you are who are watching this probably, you had to go to school, right, to learn whatever you're doing, like nurses, for example. We had to go to school to learn how to assess our patients, to put in IVs, to put in Foleys, to give certain medications. We had to go to school for that. I wasn't just born, I don't know about you, but I wasn't just born knowing how to do that. So I had to go to school, and sales is no different. And it is a skill that's learned. So you have to decide that you're going to learn it. It's a skill just like any other skill that you learn that's part of your job. So I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't want to do it or I'm not salesy." Well, then the other piece of it of like I don't want to do sales, well, number one, you're already doing it in your everyday life and in other ways that you may not have recognized until now. And number two is, do you want to stay stuck doing what you're doing for the rest of your life, or do you want to learn a new skill that can make you, 4 to 5, 6, 7+ figures, per month and give you that time freedom and everything. So, it's you stepping into something like this is going to require you to get uncomfortable. And maybe learning sales is that for you. Most people who come into this that we help right now do not have sales experience, and that's okay. Abby didn't have any experience. I had very little experience coming into this. And again, like I said, you just have to show up, you plug in, you implement what you're learning and you keep going and there's no reason that you wouldn't be successful here. You just have to, but you do have to be willing to learn the skills and be coachable to the mentorship. So, anything
Yeah.
to add, Abby?
And like I am a like living testament to what you said, where I was like, okay, I've never done this before. I've never done anything like this, never done sales. And coming into it, that's what I thought too. I was like, this is just going to be a new skill set that I learned. Like I just spent, years on years be learning how to become a nurse in nursing school, and then I mean, even after nursing school, because after nursing school, you don't really know how to be a nurse yet, and then you have to learn it hands-on. And this is the same thing. Like you plug in, like you said, you learn the trainings. You can, have that support from your team, and eventually it just comes from doing the things. And just like with nursing, like you have your flows because you learn those by doing the things. And this is the same thing. Like you learn about it, but then when you apply it, you learn what works for you. It's the same exact thing. And this is a lot more valuable whenever it comes to creating, a bigger, better future because I mean, you can entrepreneurs, I'm just going to say it, entrepreneurs are the top money makers in the world. So if there's any kind of new skill set to learn, like this is the one. Sales is the one.
Yeah, boom, mic drop. I couldn't agree more. Sales really is the number, like one of the top paying skills. I don't know for sure that it's the number one, but it is one of the top paying skills that you can have. Abby's right. So, thank you so much for sharing that, Abby, and adding that on there. So that is the end of our frequently asked questions and concerns and fears video. If you do have any further questions, you can reach out to your sponsor, and have that conversation. If you haven't gotten on your discovery call yet, have that call, get all of the information, and see what it could really look like for you, so that way you can make an educated decision for you and your family. Because really the true risk here isn't getting started. The risk is staying exactly where you are and being in the same place a year from now, 5 years from now, and just letting and getting burnt out. So no, I think that's why all of you are here, most of you are here because you want out of that situation. So, and again, it's normal to have some fears and hesitations come up. But worst case scenario, you come into this and maybe, you just have some products that you're using in your home, but they're the best wellness products that you'll ever have, and your family is really, really healthy. Best case scenario is you come into this and you absolutely blow this business out of the water and you set your family free and also the next 3 generations. So think about it that way.